COVID Survival Toolkit. Today we're going to be talking about how to deal with depression. And with me today is my really, really good friend. Her name is Vicky Wong. And just want her to introduce herself and let everyone know who you are and what you do.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vicky Wong. I am a marriage and family therapist. I'm also licensed in mental health counseling. My husband and I, we pastor Calvary Assembly of God, so I'm also a pastor. And I understand depression because I'm faced with it so much now because of this COVID virus. And really, depression and anxiety are some of the biggest struggles that people go through.
Earlier, Vicky, we're talking about we're just in a new normal right now. And can you kind of talk us through kind of what's going on inside of us and what's happening? You did a really good job, I felt, just talking about what are some of the things that are going on inside of us and why are we feeling the way we're feeling?
You got to remember, COVID-19 is something that we've never been exposed to. It's a new viral infection. And there's a significant amount of uncertainty and fear going on right now because people don't know how to react. You know, we see around us people who are sick, people who are dying. Suddenly we're asked to be in social isolation. And all of a sudden now you got these weirds like, social distancing. Do not go out. If you go out, you get a ticket. There's fear. There's so much fear all around because of there's uncertainties with the disease. On top of that, you've got all these challenges financially. You've got people are not working, unemployment, not being able to pay rent, not knowing if they're going to have a job. You not knowing what the economy is going to look like. Are we going to recover? You go outside, stores are closed, restaurants are closed, businesses are closed. You're driving outside and suddenly there's nobody on the road. And this uncertainty comes upon you and stress levels comes upon you. As we know, stress level affects your immune system. It affects you physiologically. And physiologically, suddenly you feel like your body is not fighting the antibodies. It's not fighting the any kind of infections. You're feeling cold. You're feeling like headaches and again, it's that fear. It's that fear and fear causing stress. And suddenly your emotions start to react to it. I feel sad. I feel lost. I feel helpless. That's a huge one right now. I feel like I'm out of control. And I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to react. I don't know what's happening in our society, but I'm asked to literally socially isolate and be away from people to keep my own health and my family. And as these feelings, as you're grappling with these feelings, suddenly it's those feelings of my body is breaking down physiologically. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I feel alone. I can't go to church. There's no safe places anymore. All my safe places have been removed. The church is closed, counseling offices are closed, and people that are my support, I'm no longer allowed to contact. And then suddenly the loneliness comes in, the hopelessness, the helplessness, the repetitive sadness. And next thing you know, wow, I feel anxious. I feel depressed. Am I in depression?
Wow. So what are some of the ways that we know that we're in depression? Because this, like you're saying, it's new for many of us. Like, what are some of the ways that we can identify whether or not, that, because depression to me is a very big word and it can be very intimidating. How would you explain that?
Let me share a quick story is that last week I stayed in the house all week long. I did not go out. I followed all the social isolation, social distancing, but I knew that I just wanted to connect with God. So we have a 6 a.m. prayer meeting on Saturdays, and it's got a small group. So I went there and I was feeling okay. But when I got there, there was nobody in the road. It was completely just like an empty road. I think there was like maybe 3 cars on the road. And I get to the church and suddenly there's this emptiness that comes about me. And I feel numb. I feel disconnected. I felt scared. There was fear, even though I'm at a prayer meeting. But yet something about being in that prayer meeting, there must have been only like 3 people. But just having that opportunity just to pray, knowing that there was, 3 people around, there was just that connection. And after we prayed together, and I needed to stop being Oriental, stop suppressing and being vulnerable. And I went to a pastor, I went to a board member, and I said, I'm struggling
Yeah.
because it's just it's just this uncertainty. There's a fear that's coming on me, and I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling numb. And it was so wonderful just to have them, just to be able to talk it through, to talk out your feelings, be able to connect with somebody. And they said, yes, we're feeling the same thing. We're feeling the same thing. And then having them to pray through it, suddenly it's almost like this cloud lifted off us. And I think that's what we need. How do you stay healthy during this time? Is you have to have the connections. If you're Oriental, okay, stop being Oriental. Okay, stop suppressing. Stop not sharing, but use your words. Find your words and speak honestly about what you're feeling, what's hard for you, and if you're on the other end, don't fix it. Just listen. Just show empathy. Don't tell people what to do. Just listen. That's huge.
Yeah.
So we need those connections.
Mm.
And specifically, they prayed for me, and just having that connection to God. And if you can't go to a prayer meeting, which is understandable right now,
Yeah.
then do it over the phone, do the internet, do it over Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
do it through FaceTime. But just having the opportunity to connect regularly, repetitively, that's huge.
Mm.
You know, other areas that you can do is your self-care is huge right now. So you take care of yourself. If you some of you guys know I don't eat starch. Okay, starch and I are tight right now. We're best friends right now because also I know that, you know, just I'm enjoying the food that I'm eating. Okay, I'm eating well and not always eating healthy, but I'm eating and I'm enjoying my foods. Okay, we went for ice cream 3 days in a row. Okay, that may not have been the smartest, but just being able to drive through a drive-through and have McDonald's, you know, through the drive-through. But again, it's just like you're treating yourself well. I think it's important. Eating well, getting the sleep, having the connections. If you can, okay, I'm starting to exercise. I went on the internet and I found all these great websites to exercise with and learning to work out. If you're like most people, especially when the anxieties are high, depressions are high, you got to start finding calming activities. Could be reading a book. It could be listening to Zoom, listen to podcasts, music, board games, arts and crafts, puzzles, anything that's like a calming effect. And again, talking, having that communication, coming out of isolation and bringing yourself to a place where you're communicating with people. It's huge.
Yeah. I had a question. I know, so maybe for a lot of women, it's easy for you to identify. You talked about talking about how you feel, but I know a lot of men that have a very hard time putting words to their feelings. Do you have any tips to help those who have a hard time putting words to their feelings?
With men, okay, talk about the event. Okay, you don't have to talk about feelings if you're not sure how to do that, but talk about the event. You know, like I drove outside and there were no cars. And I drove outside and it was good that there's no cars, but suddenly I realized every store was closed. Everybody was wearing masks. And everybody is just, there's no smiles. It's like a closed down. It's like people, so discuss the event, discuss the fact that I drove by the church and there's no cars. And in the no cars, I don't know what I'm feeling. So it's not so much the feelings, but talk about the events, talk about the circumstances, talk about what logically does not feel correct. Logically, it's 5 o'clock. I'm supposed to be in traffic. And yet I got home in 10 minutes, which is normally a 40-minute ride, and it's rush hour. And from there, just talk about the event. And from there, you may and so now I feel what? I feel maybe a little lost. I feel because of the event. So you describe the event first. The event is what happened. So because of this event, I feel a little confused. I feel a little uncertain. And economically, there's a bunch of uncertainty right now. And a lot of people are only getting paid half time, a portion of their money. And so again, you talk about the event. I'm not getting paid. I don't have a job. And so because of that, I feel sad. I don't know how to feel. I feel numb. I feel scared because I'm a man. I'm supposed to be the provider. I'm
Yep.
supposed to lead. And suddenly I'm not playing that role. So I feel confused.
Mm.
I don't know what my role is.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about the event and then let yourself, because the feelings are actually going to be able to say, hey, maybe I'm feeling this.
Mm. Okay. What if, because you're talking about when we feel depressed, we want to isolate ourselves. So you're talking about going counter to, go and connect with someone when everything inside of me is telling me, don't talk to anyone. How would you help someone who feels like I don't want to talk to anyone, but now I'm hearing this Zoom call and Vicky's telling me I have to go connect, but I don't feel like connecting. What would you say to that person?
I would tell that person that if, introverts, introverts and extroverts,
Mm,
Pastor Tara and I, we are extroverts, okay? Introverts, it's good to be reflective.
mm,
It's good to be able to spend some time processing your own thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Again, but you're looking at the scale from a little bit I need to process on my own. That's healthy. Okay. I need to think about what I'm feeling and I need to have some self-reflection. That's healthy. But when you see yourself at a place where I'm not, I'm not talking to anybody right now, and I'm alone, and all I am every moment, every day, most of the day is alone. And then you start saying, and it becomes a new norm, a new normal.
Yes.
And I'm isolating, but I feel lonely. I
Mm,
feel scared. And again, talking about the vent goes to feelings. And I don't want to connect. But you look at people in prison, okay? One of the worst places in prison is to be in isolation.
yes.
Because in isolation, suddenly you can't think anymore. Your thoughts become scattered. Your thoughts are like something feels wrong. And again, the stressors are hitting physiologically, your body's breaking down. Some people, if they're in isolation for too long in prison, you start forming hallucinations. So then you start looking at like, wow, I'm starting to feel signs that I don't normally feel when I'm trying to process.
Mm,
And I'm feeling like there's some things that are not quite right in me. My
mm,
thinking is scattered. My thinking is, and so when you start noticing those signs of
okay.
physiological breakdown, I can't make decisions, I can't make choices, I feel blank, I can't concentrate,
Mhm,
then those are moments, it's like seeing a doctor. I need help. I need to connect
mm.
because this is beyond just a little bit of isolation. Something does not feel right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when we talk to men, you know how many men want to see the doctor? We don't want to see the doctor because we're too proud, whether we're Asian or not. I don't want to ask for directions, I got this, so I, I think it's especially for those who don't want to ask for help because we're proud, we don't want to look weak in front of others. How would you help people like that?
Okay. Well, I'm a counselor.
Yeah.
Um, and what people are surprised of is that I have more male clients than I do female clients.
Really?
Yeah, actually I do. Because a lot of men are looking for a safe place to be able to process. I had one individual I talked to today, he's never had counseling. But
Mm.
after an hour of counseling, he said, what? We're done? How can we be done? And I go, well, we went through a full hour. And he goes, wow. He goes, I didn't know what it was like to be able to process in a safe place,
Wow.
because most men, they don't feel that sense of safety where
Mm,
I can be able to share and disclose. And
mm,
so here's my encouragement to you and to the men is that be a little courageous, reach out to
mm.
other men because they're probably feeling the same thing that you're feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of pastors are more available than they ever was before.
Hmm.
Okay. Make a call out to your pastor and say, hey,
Yeah.
pray for me. And as they're praying for you,
Mm,
then again, talk about the events going on, and then slow it down to, because of this event, I feel what,
mm, mm.
okay? And it's hard. You want to see a doctor, but doctors are closed. Right now, most counselors are offering online counseling. So you can do it in the privacy of your own home. And there's no, and most insurance companies are waiving co-payments. So there's no co-payments. So basically all your services are free. And I can be honest with you is that I'm getting a lot of phone calls right now because people need to have connections.
Yeah.
But the key is that we have to be a safe place for somebody. We have to be a safe person. When you notice that person that you normally don't call and you're getting a phone call and you're receiving that phone call, this is where I need sensitivity to happen. Just listen, show empathy, don't fix it. Just listen, pray, and let that person connect with you because it's probably harder than they've ever had to make that phone call.
Yeah. Well,
but they've probably been in isolation for longer than they're comfortable with.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Vicky. Is there anything else that's on your heart that you want to share?
I think right now it's just there's a lot of uncertainty. There is. And I think more than anything else, I just encourage you is to really spend the time with the Lord. Be more transparent and honest that you've ever been. And we all need people. We need those God connections. Look for healthy people that can bring you back to the Lord. Look for people that you can pray with. And if you're somebody that people are reaching out to, the key is someone's definition of prophecy: encourage, comfort, and strengthen. And that's our role. It's just to encourage each other, comfort and strengthen them, because this is a time of uncertainty.
Yeah, I think about the Psalms. Sometimes when you read those Psalms, it's like, where's the psalmist, or the author of this psalm? What are they writing? It just sounds so bleak, and but they're doing exactly what you're saying. They're being honest with themselves, they're being honest with God, and hopefully they're being honest with somebody else and connecting with them. And that's what I hear you saying. In the midst of all this uncertainty, we still have a choice, and we still have the power to connect with God, connect with others, and to be honest with ourselves. So thank you, Vicky, for helping us identify what's going on in our lives, to put some words to it. And I love the fact that you kind of gave us like a picture of what we're going through, and we're all going through it, from A to Z. We're all going through it together. And this is a time, I really believe this is a time where we need to do what you just said, is either reach out, or if someone's reaching out to us, just create that safe place. So thank you so much, Vicky, for sharing your heart today. And I personally am going to watch this again, because this has been really helpful for me. And I hope that you're able to impact more lives with what you're doing, because what you're doing is so crucial for us right now, especially with everything that's happening. So thank you so much for joining us today, Vicky. And I hope and pray that we can actually practice what you're saying.
Oh, I'm honored. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. God bless.
Yeah, bless you too. All right, well, this ends our time together for our COVID Survival Toolkit. And if you have any more questions, you can message us or get in touch with us through Instagram or Facebook. And we're going to do our part to get you the information and the help that you need. So thank you for joining us, and have a great day.